Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off in what should be completely unsurprising, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, has indicated that the firm could go public in the next 12 months. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Garlinghouse told the Wall Street Journal on Thursday that an IPO, an initial public offering, is a natural evolution for the company. He said in the next 12 months, you'll see IPOs in the crypto blockchain space. We're not going to be the first, and we're not going to be the last, but expect us to be on the leading side. It's a natural evolution for our company. Last month, Ripple raised a whopping $200 million. $200 million. In a Series C funding, which is usually the last step before a company goes public. The Series C round valued the blockchain payments firm at $10 billion US. Ripple has raised a total of $293.6 million in funding to date. According to Crunchbase, it remains to be seen how much Ripple ends up raising in an IPO. I think they're going to raise at least $500 million easily. Earlier this week, Ripple reported sales figures from XRP from the fourth quarter and saw an 80% drop. Yada, yada, yada. We went over all of that yesterday. There has been an enormous amount of speculation as to when, not even an if, Ripple was going to go public. I think we all should have seen this from very far away. For those of you who did not see the video yesterday, a quick rundown. It says Ripple report selling just $13 million of XRP last quarter. Why is this significant? Because the Ripple company holds a large amount of XRP, and they were typically before selling huge chunks of it on a month-to-month basis. The fact that they sold $13 million of XRP over the course of 3 months is very significant, because I firmly believe, and I mean all the signs are clearly there, they have probably been told, I believed before, they were told exactly how much XRP that they had to sell in order to be no longer deemed as, seen as, whatever, as a security over XRP. I assume we've gotten to that endpoint, especially when you have, that's $4 million worth of XRP per month when they release, what is it, 250 million per month? Which means to me that they're holding back, not only are they holding back the XRP they are assuming is going to be a lot more valuable in the coming future when, and not even an if, when they actually end up going public. Here's the actual news right here. It says Ripple raises $200 million Series C to boost XRP adoption. One of the main arguments, or rather the articles, you know how the articles go. I saw the articles floating around when this news came out just a couple of minutes ago. As far as Ripple's IPO coming within the next 12 months, I'm going to assume we'll probably get information by the summer. By the beginning of summer, I assume this is when this will all start popping up as to if they're going to go public. One of the articles that I kept on seeing popping up as well was what effect this would have on XRP. A lot of the articles from BTC websites kept on saying that this would cause the price of XRP to drop, and I think the exact opposite. Ripple has announced before that their main focus is on XRP. They have slowed down the selling of XRP because they're trying to hold the XRP because they believe, and probably through their metrics have seen, that XRP is probably going to be more valuable as the company actually ends up going public. We shall see how all of this ends up folding out, evolving over the next couple of months. I think they're very close. The fact that, first of all, the World Economic Forum, for those of you who don't know, is absolutely major. The fact that Ripple is at every single event like this, the fact that they get invited, the fact that they're there, the fact that they're usually sitting on stage talking to world leaders, the fact that we know before that they've partnered with 300 something banking institutions, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the list really just goes on. I don't care what you think about Ripple and or XRP. This company is poised, and I dare not say the word greatness, they're poised for money. They are the most well-known cryptocurrency company out there. A lot of people don't know about the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. A lot of people don't know about Blockstream. You'd be hard pressed. You ask your friends what they know about crypto. They probably heard about Ripple before they've heard about the Stellar Foundation, the Tron Foundation, the Cardano Foundation. It's just logical. And none of them have also raised, I mean, except for the people from EOS, but that was during the ICO. Being valued at $10 billion and having all these very powerful friends around the world. Clearly something big is going to happen. I guess the question mark is going to be if XRP's price also reacts to this. I'm going to assume as well they might also speculation, be saving a lot of the news about who they've partnered with or who's going to be using ODL and or XRP for when they actually do go public. They may have all these non-disclosure agreements, and they're probably waiting for the big news to say, we're going public, we're going so-and-so, we raised this much money, and we have partnered with this bank, and we have partnered with the so-and-so, and they're going to be using blah, blah, blah. There's a reason why a lot of the news that we got from Japan, not that it's gone hush-hush, we know that the banks in Japan are still going to be using XRP, but I assume all of this, they're all waiting for the correct time frame. Here's the tweet right here of everything that happened during Davos. All the lines are there. Anyway, we'll see exactly what effect this... I'm not expecting any immediate effect on XRP's price. If anything, I'm expecting it to take a while for the rest of the market to really get it, because the rest of the market doesn't really understand how money works. There's so much confusion as to exactly what's going to make it and what's going to succeed in this space. If you've ever followed traditional finance, if you've ever followed the money, it's destructively obvious who's going to make it. Who's not holding back, who's constantly at conferences, who's talking to this person, who's doing this, who's so and so and so. Anyway, that's the Ripple going public within 12 months news. It's going to happen probably even sooner than that. Let's move on. Next up, the latest Into the Block research found that unspent transaction outputs, or UTXOs, are a fantastic indicator of a coin's buying and selling pressure. Diving deeper into Bitcoin's UTXOs revealed that almost 4 million coins have been held for over 5 years, showing that during even the most violent price swings, people didn't sell their Bitcoin. Despite being reliant on cold, hard data, crypto analytics isn't an exact science. The complexity of the industry, combined with the complexity of most cryptocurrency networks, makes it extremely hard to come up with numbers that can be undisputed. This is why most crypto analysis presents data that isn't written in stone, but rather an estimate on how the network has been performing at a certain point in time. But with metrics like transaction volume, hash rate, and the number of addresses being overused in such analysis, new angles are always needed to assess the performance of a network as complex as Bitcoin's. Crypto analytics company Into the Block has introduced a new section in its platform solely dedicated to UTXO intelligence. The company said that the often ignored metrics gives a unique source of information. They're like missing words in this article. Unique source of information about cryptocurrencies and can be used to estimate holdings and spending trends. Unspent transaction outputs, or UTXOs, can be defined as leftover cryptocurrency change in each transaction. The mechanism on which Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, and many other cryptocurrencies were built on were created as a solution to double spending, with every transaction creating a UTXO. The age of UTXO indicates the block it was first included on. For those of you who have no idea what a UTXO is, pretty much imagine you're trying to send crypto to your friend. The Bitcoin finally just comes out of the machine. Brand new Bitcoin. You get it. It has a transaction from the actual first computer that it hits you. The transaction says 1, 2, 3 at the end of it. You decide to send it to your friend because you're a nice person. And the transaction that they got now says 4, 5, 6. So the UTXO on that transaction is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You decide, that friend decides to send it to a third person because their mother needs money and so and so and so. The UTXO then becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on their side. And then 7, 8, 9 from the additional transaction that also hit. That's the easiest way of kind of saying it. You can usually tell this is why or how law enforcement agencies are able to track Bitcoin transactions, because they use the UTXOs from the other things. There's also multiple other ways, but UTXOs are usually a very big indication of if your coin is dirty, if it's touched an address that some government doesn't want them to do, that they've blacklisted. This is how they do it, is usually through UTXOs, but UTXOs are also a very good way to be able to show if a coin has moved. This is why we had other lists before, when you can like see the wallets, and it's like, first in, it says like the first transaction that hit that wallet was in 2013. The last out was 2018. So we know, due to all that information, that the last transaction leaving that account or whatever was from 2018. Well, that's weird. That wallet has 345 Bitcoin that hasn't been touched since X amount. You get it? See how all of this is coming together. We also had another price metric similar to this it has to be about a week ago. No. About a month and some change ago. Talking about that the amount of Bitcoin and Litecoin that's remained unmoved throughout a certain amount of time has hyper increased. And it shows that even when prices are going up and swinging down and blah, 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 and also moving and all this other stuff, that people just simply aren't selling. People are just simply holding on to their crypto because they're holding it for the long term. Anyway, that's that news for today. I like metrics like this. I've gone over this before. I like to be able to see how much Bitcoin, how much crypto, how much XRP, how much all this other stuff just hasn't moved, especially when you get the indicators that show like the last time that a transaction went into it and the last one that one went out was also years before, which means that these accounts are also just accumulating. No one's actually selling in many cases, and that people are simply just hoarding as much crypto as they possibly can in anticipation of a grand move or simply waiting for the future. Oh, wait, nope, that's supposed to be over here? I don't know. We'll find out in a couple of seconds. Next up, stablecoin issuer Tether is launching a new token backed by Why was the screen jumping? Backed by physical gold. Tether Gold represents ownership of 1 troy fine ounce of physical gold on a specific gold bar. A press release said Thursday, the new stablecoins with the ticker XAUT will be issued on Ethereum and Tron as ERC20 and TRC20 tokens. Tether Gold is launching in response to the growing demand for a digital asset that provides exposure to the world's most enduring asset and a geopolitical need for an alternative financial system. Sure, why not? The gold backing each token will be stored in a Swiss vault, the release claimed, without naming the facility. Can you imagine? They're like, yeah, it's going to be on this street. The guards leave at this time, and I hope all of our gold is safe. Tether will charge no custody fees and has direct control over the physical gold storage. Tether Gold provides the combined benefits of both physical and digital assets. Welcome to the new edition of This News Was Everywhere. I guess the news of, first of all, this is not the first gold-backed stablecoin. There are a plethora of them. The point is that Tether is finally making their foray into the gold world. I predict a future not too far from now. I'm going to give it about a good 7, 8, 9 years. If you've ever purchased gold or silver before, you know, you walk into a shop. Some people order it online. That's another way. Most people, to be anonymous, you walk into a shop, hand them cash. You get the coin, you get the bar, however you decide to invest in gold and or silver. I'm expecting in the future that gold will probably be completely locked up. I think owning physical gold in the future will be an extreme rarity, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but I don't think people will be forced into owning or just holding digital gold, but I think it's going to be like the new trend for everyone. As far as the entire conversation, remember we were talking about before that people keep talking about, well, gold is really heavy and gold is really so-and-so, therefore you should have digital gold. I foresee a future where many gigantic entities are going to start buying up tons of gold, storing it, and then selling you numbers on your phone. Which makes it easier for you to then travel across borders with tons of gold. But the world is becoming increasingly digital. I assume, my assumption, we are going to see a large amount of, I don't want to say criticism, but I think, what's the word? Scrutiny towards Tether. Tether has had problems before with if they actually hold US dollars to back their stablecoin. So I assume there's going to be a lot of talk as to if they own all of that gold. If it's inside of a Swiss vault, I would assume the Swiss bank would, what's the word? Determine if they actually have that much gold. But anyway, this was all over the place. If you Google the words Tether Gold, all over the place. Let's move on. Next up, 6 central banks have formed a working group with the Bank of International Settlements to share findings as each investigates potential cases for central bank digital currencies. The group will be comprised of central banks of Sweden, Canada, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, and Japan, as well as the European Central Bank and the Bank for or of International Settlements. Announced by all 7 members on Tuesday, each institution will continue assessing the economic, functional, and technical design choices, including cross-border interoperability of central bank digital currencies, and will share any findings. The members will also work closely with the Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructure, or the CPMI, an international standard setter for payments and clearing, in the Financial Stability Board, a recommendations body for the global financial system, which has previously warned about the potential risks that are associated with stablecoins. I mean, wait till you see the other story that we have. Is this it? Yes, this is it. This is the actual paper from the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements. It says, Impending Arrival, a sequel to the survey on central bank digital currency. Actually going to swing this one over right here because it fits with it just completely perfectly. A recent survey for the Bank for International Settlements confirms the emerging trend of digital currencies backed by central banks. The publication reveals that 80% of the participants have declared that they are currently working on issuing their own, they're not even cryptocurrencies, their own central bank digital currencies. The survey was compiled by the BIS at the end of 2019. It contains the answers from 66 central banks from around the world. 21 came from advanced economies and 45 from emerging market economies. The study firmly concludes that 80% of all participants are in the process of creating their own central bank digital currency. This showcases a 10% increase since last year. Additionally, 40% have already progressed from conceptual research to experiments, and 10% have developed pilot projects. Interestingly enough, all central banks that are already testing their future central bank digital currency come from an emerging market economy. The report explains it with the higher motivation coming from these countries. EMEs, emerging economies, generally have stronger motivations than advanced economies to work on general purpose central bank digital currencies, which can act as a substitute or complement to banknotes. Domestic payments, efficiency, payment safety, and financial inclusion were all, on average, all considered very important in this respect to EMEs. For advanced economies, the only motivation ranked as very important was payment safety. So, remember I said a couple of months ago, I'm pretty sure nearly every bank on this planet was working on a central bank digital currency. Here we go. I guess it takes Davos for all of this stuff to really come together. It's so obvious, and I assume the merger here, Sweden, Canada, Switzerland, UK, Japan, and the European Central Bank, probably comes down to, if you've been paying attention, we are going to have a world where there are going to be central bank digital currencies. It's just how things are. Part of the issue is that sanctions will still reign supreme. And this is something that I think a lot of people kind of look over. Never forget that we live in a world where one or two countries, usually just one, can tell every other country what they can and cannot do with their money, whatever the actual reason might be. I think there's a reason why we see this cluster of countries, working on something together as far as the central bank digital currency, because what will probably end up happening is that it'll be Sweden, Canada, Switzerland, UK, Japan, ECB, and I assume maybe one or two other places, what have you, who are going to form their own type of blockchain solution type of thing, where all these coins are interoperable, but they will still need to go through the actual system as far as a third party to be able to verify that these transactions have actually taken place. What we're going to see is another new world where other countries are going to start merging together as well to start making their own central bank digital currencies, and they're pushing together. There was also discussions before of an African passport, i.e. not just for this country, not just for so-and-so, actually having one whole passport. The discussion was as well to try and merge economies together. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. Not getting into politics, but the entire point being, we're going to see a world that kind of works in this way. And I think this is also why we've seen a lot of discussion, all making a lot more sense during Davos, where all of these countries are now coming forward talking about, yeah, you know, Libra's not that bad, because we've also had news before that the people from Libra have had discussions with South American and African countries. So I assume the way that we're going to go forward is that we're going to see, once again, this is the discussion that we've had from Andreas Antonopoulos, we are going to see permissionless coins, Bitcoin. We're going to see government coins, central bank digital currencies, and we're going to start to see the advent of company coins. Amazon coin, Facebook coin, Apple coin, these are all going to be things. If you think that Apple is not working on a coin, you are sadly mistaken. There's already Apple Pay and there's already, what is it, Amazon Pay? It's something Amazon-y. They're all trying to make, to have your own world currency is pretty much the largest thing that a tech company could have ever aspired to. And the fact that they are on the cusp of being able to do so, this is why everyone's scrambling right now for the entire Facebook thing, is because it's huge. Normally, countries are only allowed to have their own currency, world currency, and the fact that other ones are scrambling now. Imagine making a company in, Facebook came out in 2004, 2005. Imagine making a company 15 years ago. You, yourself, you made a company. Imagine in the year 2035. 15 years from now, you are making your own world currency. How big you would be, how many people would be kissing your feet. You understand the actual movement of why all of this is happening. The entire point being, I like news like this because it kind of puts everything into the light, pushes it forward to let us know exactly all this nonsense is actually taking place. And the fact that all the other governments were like, oh, we're not going to do it. We're not going to so-and-so. Remember a couple of months ago when Japan was like, yeah, we have no need for a central bank digital currency. Oh, well, that's really funny because you're now part of this entire consortium who's working on making a central bank digital currency. Anyway, I am becoming more of a believer in Bitcoin just being widely used as a store of value. I think in 5 to 10 years, when Bitcoin's Lightning Network is faster, stronger, more robust, I don't foresee any on-chain upgrades anytime soon. I see a future, and I had this discussion with one of my very close friends in Florida. You know exactly who you are. I said Florida for a reason. We were discussing Bitcoin as a store of value, governments making central bank digital currencies, and also Apple coin, Facebook coin, and stuff like that. And Bitcoin being this new age gold, new age thing where people have all their money and people are buying it as much as humanly possible to be able to store it, have it to contain their value in a very stabilized manner. But when they need to or are required to, that's also the other major point, is that they're able to swap out some of their Satoshis into Eurocoin, into Canada Coin, into Apple Coin, depending on how they're planning on doing it. I assume many companies in the next 5 years will offer Bitcoin as a complete payment option. Don't forget that we have all that other stuff, all the other major companies who are backing that thing. I can't remember the name. They have such weird names. We are able to pay in Bitcoin in Starbucks and pay here and so on. So that's going to be a very big thing. A lot of major car companies, a lot of major real estate agencies are now also offering sales in Bitcoin. This will continue to happen, but I think we're going to see a very huge, the word isn't barrier. We're going to see a lot of countries who don't trust Bitcoin, who don't want Bitcoins. If you want to use their currency within their borders, you're going to have to swap from your Satoshis into their actual thing. I think these countries may not do that well economically, having to swap into something else, especially in a world where everything is digital and should be interoperable. However, at the moment, Bitcoin seems like it is poised to become a mark of stability in finance. I don't know how long that's going to take. I assume we need at least 3 more halvings, including this one, for Bitcoin's price to be very substantially higher than it is right now. To people, once we get around a $250,000 Bitcoin, I think that's when people will go, okay, it's definitely a store value. That's also going to be the point where we start watching news and everyone's like, yeah, I believed in it years ago. Yeah, we can still find those other footage of you saying that you hated Bitcoin. The entire point being, to end this thought, 80% of central banks are working on launching their own cryptocurrency. Fairly obvious. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. And not to be Mr. Pessimistic. Geez, why can't I say this? Mr. Pessimistic. I'm waiting for central bank digital currencies to be released, and I'm also waiting for the outright corruption to happen. What ends up happening is, if you want to get into that discussion, because this is a very huge topic, I'm sure you've seen, and if you Google it, it's definitely there. You can even YouTube videos about it. Government shutting down the internet. Governments sometimes, usually, shut down the internet in a city, a country, a province, a state, the entire place that they have, because they are trying to control the media. They're trying to control the outflow or inflow of information, depending on what event might be taking place within or outside of their borders. In situations like this, in nearly all countries where they have internet blackouts, they're still able to dig into their pockets or go to an ATM and take out money. What happens in a world where there's uprising, discontent, people are getting upset, people are rallying, and the internet shuts down? And then you realize your money's on the internet, your money's digital. It makes a bit more sense now. Remember the news that we had last year where there are companies who are trying to make sure that that you can text Bitcoin should you not have internet. You can actually do it through SMS, or that you can send Bitcoin transactions through radio as well. We are, my gosh, the world is going to get very interesting. I mean, it's already here. I think a lot of people in developed countries don't feel the sting as much, or you assume that you don't. But there are billions of people around the world who are going to have to live under harsh regimes where not only can the internet be shut off, but your money can be shut off until you comply. If you have never listened to Andreas Antonopoulos speak, this might be the time to do so, because this is why you should be rallying behind permissionless, free cryptocurrencies that you can use whenever you want. Let's move on. To kind of finish things off, politicians from Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party plan to propose the nation issues its own digital currency. Surprise, surprise. According to a Reuters report on Friday, about 70 lawmakers from the party feel a digital yen is needed to counter the approach launches of Libra and China's digital currency. I don't think people understand how large Libra is going to be. I really don't think people get it. The effort aimed to keep Japan at the forefront of fintech innovation would be a joint project between the government and the private sector. Parliamentary Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Norihiro Nakayama told the news agency, China is moving towards issuing digital yuan, so we'd like to propose measures to counter such attempts. The initial stage would be to research the prospect of the digital coin. The ruling party is led by former Minister of the Economy, Trade and Industry Akira, that's a cool name, Akira Amari, and would put the plan before the government possibility next month. No need to read even further. You get the entire point. Funny how the world changes in just a few weeks. Everyone hates Libra. People start accepting Libra. Everyone says that, not that Libra is not a threat, but that they don't need central bank digital currencies. It's funny how they all came to the same exact conclusion at the exact same time. I'm looking forward to a world of digital land. I'm waiting for that to really pick off as well. I completely forgot about that. What's the name of that thing? Decentraland. Not advertisement at all. It's more like I forgot that existed. And also, I mean, I know that perked up a lot of people's ears. Yeah, there's a huge theory that in the future you'll be able to own digital land. If you've never heard of Decentraland, there's like 4 other games like it as well. It's pretty much like a virtual reality video game headset type of thing, where you pretty much go inside, you can buy land, and you can rent out your land to other people to build their stuff on top of it. I'm assuming we should be getting something like major in the mainstream within the next 3 to 5 years. It's pretty much like, what's that building block game that all the kids are playing? Blocks. The one boop, 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 where you make stuff and you destroy it, and I can't think of it. I can see the weird blocky characters. It's like that and Fortnite kind of mixed together. It's all these anyway. I don't know how I got so off track talking about video games. The entire point being, we are going to see central bank digital currencies, at least 3 by the end of this year. China's is expected to launch sometime in April. Libra is expected to come out by June. And I assume if Libra does well for the first month and there are no hiccups, the system doesn't crash down, blah, 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 we are going to see a number of other countries talking about, hey, ours is coming out tomorrow. Get excited. Because everyone is afraid of China and Facebook. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Chongololo Songololo, Nostromo, Mr. Pickles, John Sarson, the Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Barebones Mining, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Neal, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Milweezy, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas Renault, One Piece, One Love, Damian Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Biz Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangiala, Vody Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jemmy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch, Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes, 2, Crypto, Bodie McButtface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arf, Medic 17, Bake Me a Cake, and Tigara Macho Nisa. Thank you all very, very much for your support. And thank you, thank you very, very much to everyone who was also a supporter of the channel. I need to speak slower, but I don't know how. At the moment, the market is red. Tether's green, as if you're holding Tether. There you go. I saw a couple of reports floating around saying that Bitcoin needed to hold above 8,300. We are currently at 8,253. We are below that 8,300 mark, saying that we could see a slip below 8,000. Who knows? We've seen before where Bitcoin looked like it was going down and then shot back up. However, many coins, nearly all coins, are in the red. Leo is up. Cool. It's a red day. Kind of is what it is. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Hope your Friday is it Friday? My phone doesn't say. Hope your Friday is fantastic. I think it is Friday. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.